Good afternoon, my witchlets. Well, it's afternoon during the time of the shooting of this video. We are going to use our Duxelles that we made last week, and we are going to make something very, very tasty that I hope you guys will like. Let's go ahead and pan down to what we need to do this and see if you can guess. Don't worry, I will tell you. So we've got our Duxelles, we've got cubed filet mignon, we've got some ground beef, eggs, gluten-free puff pastry, mustard, salt, pepper, and thyme, and a prepared baking sheet. If you guessed beef Wellington, you are correct! Yay! So we're going to make some beef Wellington. And I'm just going to tell you right now, preheat your oven to 425. Might as well start that now, and then we will get the process started. So we'll be back in just a moment to start with browning our meat. Okay, we are back and we are going to start by browning our ground beef. Probably don't want to do this the way I do, because I just tend to make a mess. I have the burner set to that high. It's like medium high. Doesn't really matter too much. You're just trying to brown up your beef. Did I mention it's cold in my apartment? If I didn't, it is cold in my apartment, and it was rainy today, which made everything so much better. And by everything, I mean the temperature. All right, so go ahead and brown your ground beef, or ground your brown beef, whatever you want. It's your recipe. You do with it as you wish. So this is one of the two components of the beef Wellington that we're going to make. It's not technically a complete beef Wellington. We are actually making mini Wellingtons. So when we start cutting out the dough and everything for that, don't freak out too much and try to, figure out why we're cutting the pieces so small. Like I said, you just want to brown up the meat. We're not going to add our spices or anything like that right now, except for salt and pepper, because I'm a smart person and that's how you actually, do ground beef and such. The salt and pepper are really to taste, so you find your taste and you put that much in. I'm gonna need to get some more pepper soon. Alrighty. Now the beef that I am using happens to be 85-15 and is grass-fed beef. Not because I had any particular inclining to purchase grass-fed meat, but we have a subscription to Imperfect Produce, and some of the stuff that they offer through their site includes different types of meats and cheeses, which are fantastic as well. So my producer seems to be expressing his displeasure with the fact that, I don't know, he's awake. Anyway. So, yes, you can use whatever type of ground beef you want, though. If you want to do something that's leaner, go for it. If you want to do something a little fattier, that's fine too. Whatever you want. You do you, boo. Okay, we'll come back in a few minutes once this is all browned, and we will start the process on the filet mignon. Okay, we're back, and this is what the ground beef should look like. It should be finely ground together, or fine pieces. I don't know, work that out in your head. Now we're going to brown our filet mignon in the same pan that we just got done with our ground beef. I would tell you more about filet mignon, but I didn't write it down, and I can't remember anything right now. Did I mention I was tired? Oh, when you cut up your filet mignon, it should be about a 1 inch by 1 inch by ½ inch cubed, which is about what these are. There's going to be some quote-unquote waste, and that's fine. You can use the irregular bits for, you know, something else, or just eat them on their own, because it's filet mignon. If price is a concern as far as the filet mignon is concerned, we got a screaming deal on filet mignon the other day at the store, which is the only reason we're using it. You can use sirloin steak and just do it the same way. You want to cut it into 1 inch by 1 inch by ½ inch cubes. All right, I'm going to finish browning this up, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like and go from there. All right, we're back. So this is our browned filet mignon. It's going to cook in the oven, so you don't have to worry, like, this piece is a little pink. This is more just to seal in the flavor. It's going to cook all the way through when it's in the oven. Okay, on the table here we have our gluten-free puff pastry that we actually had to make from scratch. If this recipe turns out, I will do a video on this, because this is one of the easiest puff pastry recipes I have literally ever seen, gluten-free or otherwise. We have the table dusted with gluten-free all-purpose flour. It's the same flour that we used in the dough, and water for hydration, wine because. All right, so we're going to start rolling this out to 1/4 inch. Ken has these lovely rolling pins from jkadams.com. It is lovely baking rolling pin or something like that. They come in different depths, and this is the 1/4 inch one. We will switch to the 1/8 inch one in a minute. If I can have my cameraman shift some things around so that I have room here. Okay. Oh, this is really hard. Because puff pastry goes in the refrigerator. All right, so we're gonna attempt to roll this out. It has been chilling overnight. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this rolled out, come back and show you the results of our labor. All right, as you can see here, we have one piece of the puff pastry rolled out, but I wanted to show you this lamination here going on the inside when we cut it in half. It's this is what it should look like. It's very promising for this particular recipe. So we have this rolled out to 1/8 inch thick. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it into 6-inch squares, and then we'll come back and show you how to do that. But I really don't think you want to watch me trying to determine how much 6 inches is. Take that as you will, internet. Okay, we're back. So what we ended up doing, since this was homemade puff pastry rather than store-bought, we ended up cutting our squares into 5-inch pieces and then rolled it out a little extra to make it 6 inches, just to make it slightly thinner. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding our ground beef to the center of our puff pastry. And you just kind of have to eyeball this part, because it depends on the size of your square and the nature of what you're doing. And you take a piece of your filet mignon, a little bit of mustard, And then you spread that on top of your filet mignon bit. Make a mess. Sprinkle a little thyme. That's plenty of thyme. And then you're going to add your Duxelles. Again, you just kind of have to eyeball it for how much you think you should have on here. I'm going to put a little more on. Just like that. Now from here, you grab the four corners together and make it into a packet. Try not to rip the dough. Just like that. And then pinch it closed all down each seam. And then turn it onto your prepared baking sheet, and at this point you can do an egg wash on top of it to make it look really pretty when it comes out of the oven. Okay, and we're back, and we have 4 of these done, so I'm going to go ahead and put these 4 in the oven right now. It's a 425 degree oven for 30 minutes. We're going to check it at that time to see if they're done. Just as a quick point of order, some people do use prosciutto or ham in their beef Wellingtons, but we don't. I personally don't eat pork, so that is part of the reason we eliminate it from these. So we're going to go ahead and put these into the oven now, and we'll be back when these are done. Okay, we're back. Didn't really go as planned, just so you know. This is not the puff pastry that you were looking for, so I probably won't do a video on how to make this because, well, have a look. Yeah. This was in the oven for 30 minutes. This was in the oven for 20 minutes. Both are cooked through. The differences are pretty obvious, but with the gluten-free pastry, it's much more delicate, so we didn't fill it as full. And this one, the color is right, but obviously the interior is a bit overcooked. In this one, the color is almost there, but and the interior is cooked perfectly. So I already have a message out to our local store, which is Vaughn's, to bring in some gluten-free puff pastry. In fact, this is the brand that I highly recommend for all of your gluten-free needs. This is a baguette, which is good for French onion soup, as well as, you know, little crudités and things of that nature. So we will try this again in the future. This works really well with regular glutinous puff pastry, but it's okay. It's still edible, so we will be enjoying our dinner this evening. I guess really all that's left to say is if you liked what you saw, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like what you saw, give me a comment and give me a thumbs down. Just let me know what's going on. Leave me a comment below. I will link to a few of the things that I had mentioned, like Imperfect's Produce, J.K. Adams, and probably the Share gluten-free stuff. I'm not being paid for any of it. These are things that I use. These are things that I completely endorse because I think they're fantastic. So, like, subscribe, head over to Patreon, show me some support there, and we'll see you next time.